This is the Redmi A5, the absolute cheapest phone Xiaomi is offering in 2025 and generally one of the most affordable smartphones you can get right now. For around $90, you're getting 4GB of RAM, 128GB of storage and a full smartphone experience. The question isn't whether it's cheap, it obviously is. The question is whether it's worth your $90 or if you're better off just keeping whatever ancient phone you're currently using. Let's find out. Pop open the box and you get exactly what you'd expect from a budget phone, but in a good way. Inside, you got the phone, a charger and a transparent case. Samsung ditched the charger from their Galaxy A06, so getting both the charger and the case feels almost generous at this price point. And it's one of my favorite things about Chinese brands. It's the little things that matter when you're spending $90 on a phone. Now moving on to the design, the Redmi A5 doesn't look like a cheap phone. There's a clean modern design with a glossy finish that gives it a premium vibe even though the materials are very much in budget territory. It's all plastic, both the frame and the back, but it doesn't feel cheap in the hand. And Xiaomi did a great job with the color options here. That glossy finish is usually a fingerprint magnet, but most of the colors do a decent job of hiding them, except for the black one. If you go black, you'll definitely notice some smudging. The camera ring design is actually really clean. It's one of those details that elevate the whole aesthetic. And the power button pulls double duty as your fingerprint sensor, which I always prefer over an in-display fingerprint sensor. It usually feels faster. The Redmi A5 gives you a massive 6.88-inch LCD panel, and I think aside from the Galaxy S25 Ultra, iPhone 16 Pro Max and the new Galaxy Z Flip 7, it is the next biggest phone currently. But here's where the budget compromises hit you. Those bezels are thick, like really thick. We're talking 2019 thick, and instead of a modern punch-hole camera, you get a teardrop notch. The 120Hz refresh rate is actually solid. Scrolling feels smooth, which is more than you'd expect at this price. But then there's the resolution, 720p. Look, I get it. Corners need to be cut somewhere. But 720p feels dated now. We should be past this. It also struggles in brightness. Good luck seeing the screen clearly under direct sunlight. Brightness just isn't the strong suit here. But indoors, the big screen makes watching movies or binging YouTube totally fine. You're not getting HDR or AMOLED level contrast, but for casual media, it gets the job done. Now on to the cameras. This is where things get rough. The Redmi A5 has a 32MP main camera on the back and an 8MP selfie camera on the front. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. These cameras are bad, like straight up dookie pants. Photos come out soft, washed out and struggle with detail and dynamic range. It's hands down one of the worst cameras I've seen on a phone released in 2025. But again, this is an entry-level phone. You're not buying this for the camera. Video is capped at 1080p, which is passable for video calls or just capturing a moment here and there. But don't expect to shoot your next vlog or TikTok with this thing. The cameras exist, they take pictures, but that's all about all the praise I can give them. You're paying $90 and the camera quality reflects the price point exactly. When it comes to performance, the Redmi A5 is exactly what you'd expect. It is powered by the Unisoc T7-250 processor. If you haven't heard of it, don't worry, most people haven't. It's a budget chip designed for budget phones, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. And let's be real, gaming is not its thing. You're not loading up PUBG or Genshin Impact and expecting a smooth experience. Think more like Subway Surfers, Candy Crush, or those light puzzle games. Casual gaming only. Anything more demanding than that, and this phone is going to lag, stutter, and maybe even crash. RAM and storage options range from 3GB to 6GB, with 64GB to 128GB storage. Here's my advice, get the highest spec you can afford. This phone is already working at its limits, so every extra gigabyte of RAM matters. The base model will struggle more than it needs to do. On the software side, it's running Android 15, which is great to see on a phone this cheap. You also get 2 years of promised updates, which sounds good on paper, but let's be honest, whether this phone will still be usable in 2 years heavily depends on how light of a user you are. If you're someone who only uses the phone for calls, SMS, and light browsing, you might be fine, but anything more and you'll probably start noticing slowdowns before the end of year 1. Also important to note, this is the Android Go edition, which is a stripped down version of Android built specifically for low-powered devices. That means you'll see lighter versions of apps like Gmail Go, YouTube Go, and so on. It helps performance, sure, but it also means that some apps just won't install. You might search for something in the Play Store and see that your device isn't compatible. That can be frustrating, but that's the trade-off for phones in this ultra-budget category. Now the battery is the strongest part of the Redmi A5. It packs a 5200 mAh battery, which is pretty huge, especially for a phone that's not doing anything too demanding. Since this phone is built for light apps and casual use, battery drain is minimal. You're almost guaranteed a full day of usage, easily. In fact, if you're a light user, you might even squeeze out a day and a half or two. But now when it comes to charging, please charge it overnight. 15-watt charging is painfully slow by 2025 standards. We're talking hours to top up. The Redmi A5 is Xiaomi's cheapest phone for 2025. It is also their worst. That's not an insult, it's just math. The phone has a very specific target audience. Your grandparents who just want something that works for calls and the occasional TikTok scroll, kids who need a basic device with natural limitations, or maybe you need a backup phone that won't break the bank. What it does well, that 6.88-inch LCD display is one of the largest you'll find on any phone this year. The 5200 mAh battery will easily get you through a full day, maybe more. For basic media consumption, YouTube, TikTok, casual browsing, it gets the job done. The cameras are rough, the performance is limited, and 720p in 2025 feels dated. But at $90, it is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, being a functional smartphone that doesn't cost much. The Redmi A5 isn't trying to be your daily driver. It is trying to be the phone that makes sense when flagship features don't matter. Thanks for watching. I'm Milan and this is Fuzitech. Subscribe.